Roughly half of the pubs in Britain are owned by companies known as pubcos. Not all pubcos are the same. There are pubcos in the managed sector, and then there is the lease sector. How a lease works is the freeholder of the premises is the pubco. The publicans, lessees, lease the properties from the pubcos. The majority of leases are fully repair and insuring contracts with a tie. What this means is that lessees have to carry out all repairs on the building and grounds and have to insure against all eventualities, as well as having to purchase products from the pubcos. The tie can be a full tie, which covers all draft and packaged products, wines, spirits and minerals, to part ties which cover some of the above. The two largest pubcos own over 15,000 pubs between them and have pretty much dictated how the lease sector works. And so begins a story that many will find hard to believe. These companies have corporate social responsibilities, which involve operating in an ethical and responsible manner, acting morally correct, honesty, transparency and accountability. But are they actually managing to achieve this? Some of their actions would dictate not. They continue to advertise mutually profitable relationships with retailers in partnership. In far too many cases, the relationship is neither mutually profitable or a partnership in the true sense of the word. It would appear to be a very unfair, one-sided relationship. It has been widely publicised how much the trade is suffering and dwindling, as touched on earlier, and yet these companies did produce an increase in earnings. This was at the expense of the very foundations of their own business model, i.e. the lessees. Without the lessees, the pubcos have no business, only a lot of empty buildings whose values will be in decline. There are some aspects of the pubco model which by rights should raise some very serious questions. The valuations of pubs are in decline, with valuers announcing a general downturn of approximately 20%, and yet the two largest pubcos have both announced an increase in valuation of their pubs or estates. How can this possibly be? How can these companies see an upturn in valuations when evidence dictates that there is a downturn in general? Eye-opening, isn't it? The formula for rents that are paid to the pubcos by the lessees are dictated by RICS. This paper was drafted by two people and then approved by the board. One of these people is employed by one of the pubcos. Would this not suggest that there could be conflicts of interest and or vested interests? Rents are set by what is believed could be achieved by a reasonably efficient operator, and yet the pubcos appear unwilling to guarantee their rents are achievable. How do I know this? The following are the words of one of the pubcos with reference to the setting of a rent. The company gives no warranties and, in particular, does not warrant that all or any part of this estimate will actually be achieved by the future trading of the business by you or by any successor to you. Is this behaving in an ethical and responsible manner? The two largest pubcos carry combined debt burdens of over £7 billion, and yet the combined volume of these companies does not equate to £1 billion. Again, is this behaving in an ethical and responsible manner? The pubcos have alleged that the model has benefits, such as cheaper entry route and reduced rents to compensate for the tie. For many lessees, it may well have begun as a cheaper entry, but has finished costing dearly with bankruptcy, illness and sadly even death. Many lessees work up to 100 hours a week for no pay. Are the tied rents actually reduced in comparison to free of tie rents? Again, could any of this be classed as behaving in an ethical and responsible manner? Then we come to the intricacies and the effects of the tie. An 11-gallon keg of lager can cost up to £60 more from the pubco than from other sources. Bottled products can be bought from the supermarkets for £10 for 12 bottles. The same product and quantity can and does cost up to 3 times as much from the pubcos. Lessees have no choice if tied. They have to purchase from the pubco, even though they know that this may well be detrimental to their business. The pubco secured huge discounts from their suppliers. They have massive buying power, and yet they do not pass this on to their lessees, and so in turn the consumers do not benefit either. This seems a very strange course of action considering the current climate. Obviously for the lessee, the enticement of improving their business through buying out a tie weighs heavily. To breach the tie also means the contract has been breached. That is not recommendable. To prevent this from happening, the pubcos have installed beer flow monitoring equipment in their pubs. In many instances, this equipment only measures volume and not product. The sale of alcohol is also regulated by weights and measures, and the beer flow monitoring equipment is not. The pubcos issue the lessee's fine in the first instance, and then forfeiture of lease if this monitoring equipment dictates that a higher volume has passed through the lines than has been purchased. Could the tie and the equipment be viewed as behaving in an ethical and responsible manner? Perhaps if done on the same lines, maybe. Please believe me when I say that all of this is only the tip of the iceberg. The stories of some tenants and lessees is soul destroying and frightening. It would make your toes curl. You truly would not believe what you could hear. I simply cannot believe that today's society would find this acceptable. How do I know? Because I'm a pubco lessee in my 7th year. I know the perils of standing up for what you believe in. A long, painful story. So 7 years, 1 heart attack, and talking to hundreds, if not thousands of lessees later, I know for a fact that some actions of some pubcos could not possibly be viewed in any way, shape or form as morally correct. If you believe that the Great British Pub is worth saving, then please join the campaign to save the Great British Pub through www.justiceforlicensees.org.uk or through Facebook. On Facebook, Save the Great British Pub is in both causes and in groups. Please join. Thank you.